Hi, I'm Enchanting Nubianette. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. YouTube family, today I'm going to talk about the erosion of stability in this country. As we know, federal workers and so many other workers, they are now facing the harsh realities of the government shutdown. For generations, our elders have always stated government jobs. They were the reflection, they were the embodiment of security, stability, and dignity. Our elders often spoke of federal employment as the most reliable path to middle class life and even wealth for families. It's a career that's usually shielded from the volatility of the private sector, right? But here in 2025, this perception has been unraveling week by week because the current government shutdown stretches into its fourth week now, where thousands of federal workers, once considered the very backbone of the national infrastructure, they're now lining up in droves at various food pantries all over the United States, and they're quite uncertain of when their next paycheck will arrive, or even if their jobs will exist when the dust settles. So, this government shutdown, as we know, has been triggered by a bitter conflict in Congress over the healthcare subsidies and budget appropriations. The result? It has left nearly 2.9 million federal employees in limbo. There's no stability here. You don't know what in the world is going to happen the next week. Some are furlong, others are deemed accepted, but they're also forced to work without pay. Who can afford that? So many people, for example, they have a position, but they get the call that they need to stay flexible. They need to be open to when they can get a call to come into work. So if you want to take a vacation during this government shutdown, you can't because you need to work, you're on call, but you're not going to get paid. If you're at the airport or any of these federal jobs, you need to be on call. You need to be dedicated to them, but you may not be getting paid. However, bills are piling up week after week, month after month. And because it's 1 month now, and when it finally does end, who knows how many payments you will get in order to be condensed into a solid payment where you can make those large bill payments. So the consequences are not just bureaucratic, it's really deeply inhumane at this point. In many cities like Hyattsville, Maryland, Kansas City, Missouri, food banks are reporting a huge surge in a demand from federal workers.
Killian, also on Capitol Hill. And Nicole, you have been trying to find some practical ways to explain what's happening with this shutdown as it relates not so much to services, but those who are employed in the federal government. Tell me what you learned.
Yeah, that's right. Well, keep in mind that the Senate is voting yet again on a temporary government funding package, but we don't expect the outcome to be any different than it has been over the last 22 days as we are now in the second longest shutdown in history. And this is having some real world consequences. We visited a food bank just this week that was stood up just for the purpose of helping some of these furloughed federal workers. Take a listen to what they told us. How are you dealing with that uncertainty?
Just one day at a time. I'm trying not to stress out about it, but I just need to know when it's going to end so I can go back to work and get paid.
I've always been kind of savvy enough to kind of take care of myself and try to be there. And I feel like, hey, if there's more deserving families or there are more people in need that needs these resources, then yes, go ahead to do it. But now it seems like I'm maybe falling into that same category.
Invincibility definitely has been shattered by the harsh reality of missed wages, these mounting bills that are coming every single week, and even empty refrigerators. In Salt Lake City, the Crossroads Urban Center has already fielded calls from federal contractors who've lost their income, and they don't even have savings to fall back on at this point. And in Washington, D.C., the Capital Area Food Bank has launched a weekly food distribution specifically for these federal workers. Okay? So they're focusing on the urgency of this need for these families. This is an emotional toll. It's an emotional toll for federal workers and every single person who has lost their job or even have their jobs have closed down. These workers have been dedicated decades upon decades to publicly serve, and now they face indignity, being labeled as AWOL for missing shifts because they can no longer afford to even commute to work. There are many people who they cannot afford gas. If their car or vehicle breaks down, they cannot afford the high cost of repairs. Even mass transportation have increased. So you need to have, for 1 month, you're going to pay usually between $120 to $150. So everything is relying on this check. The Social Security Administration, for example, has denied telework and even time off requests. They're defying federal guidance meant to protect these employees during these government shutdowns. This bureaucratic rigidity, this compounds the stress and anxiety that people are feeling. And of course, it affects every single person in their household. When they have a spouse, if that one spouse has a
It's not just the shutdown. It's people that's getting ripped as well too. That's losing their job. The reduction in force. That's kind of terrible.
And I would point out that all of those workers that we spoke to are career federal employees who simply want to get back to work. They say it's really time to stop trading these political talking points and get down to business. That being said, as I mentioned, we know the Senate is voting again on a temporary funding bill tomorrow. We expect the Senate will take up another measure, potentially to try to pay some of the federal workers who have been working without pay during the shutdown.
And is there any sense, Nicole, that that particular alternative that you just mentioned, paying some federal workers, in itself might be a logjam breaker, maybe not resolve all of this, but at least have bipartisan support for that? Or no, is that going to be subject to the same partisan tensions and division?
I think the latter. I mean, look, at this point, this is a bill that was introduced by Senator Ron Johnson, but already we know that Democrats are crafting a countermeasure to this. They see this as just political posturing on the part of Republicans trying to make them take tough votes. But again, as I mentioned, there are real world consequences to this. We've obviously seen the White House have to step in to pay troops. And there is a sentiment here on Capitol Hill that if they can do something to try to help some of these federal workers, they at least want to try to make an attempt.
Definitely erodes their trust in these government institutions which they served. There's so much uncertainty right now, YouTube family, surrounding this government shutdown. It's causing a lot of crisis within many homes. We have now repeated Senate failures. They're failing to pass the funding bills. Many divisions are hardening, and there's no clear time for resolution. We don't know if this is going to end, next week or next month or the month after. So there's so much ambiguity right now, which leaves the federal workers in a state of suspended anxiety. They're unable to plan what to do for the near future. They're unable to budget because they're not getting income, and they're even unable to breathe easy right now. So in a broader context, this moment really serves as a reminder of the fragility of public service in modern America. I'm sad to say. It really challenges all of us, whether you're a federal worker or not, to really consider how we value and support those who keep our government running. Any aspect of the job, whether it's the IRS agent who's processing our tax returns, or even a park ranger preserving the national treasures. Especially people who are working at the airport, TSA agents, people who are, the air traffic.
Have enough for everybody. They're sending another truck.
With the government shutdown entering week 4 and no end in sight.
Just give her 2 boxes and a pizza.
For federal workers, the paychecks have stopped, but they still have families to feed.
You good? I hope it helps you.
The Capital Area Food Bank is now doing food giveaways for federal workers. Here at this site in Hyattsville, many folks asked that we not show their faces, but told us times have been tough.
It's not fair that the federal government employees and military members are being used as pawns in whatever this is.
Groceries are expensive. You go in 1 week, something's $5. The next time it's $10. It's a tough time.
The food giveaways will take place 4 times a week at different locations in D.C.
God bless you. God bless you, okay? Y'all come back for church. 11 o'clock, we're here.
And these volunteers aren't the only ones stepping up.
We are opening our donations next week to federal workers, so we're asking people just to submit their information. We're going to put it on a list.
Shayna Greenbaum runs a meal delivery company in Hyattsville called Healthy Fresh Meals. Federal workers can sign up to receive about 3 to 5 meals at a time. Greenbaum herself used to work in the federal government and says she knows what it's like to be furloughed.
It's always been something really important to me to make sure that people are fed. It's how I grew up. My mom always said, if you have food and somebody else doesn't, you give it away, because that's just what you do.
Back at this giveaway site.
If you're in the line, you don't get served today, we'll schedule an appointment for tomorrow.
Federal workers say they're just holding out hope the shutdown ends soon.
Yes, we're going to pray we're back to work.
Clear YouTube family. The old promise of a government job stability really needs to be re-examined. It's in a place where we need to forge new commitments, and we definitely need to prioritize resilience. We can persevere, we can have the strength to outlive anything. We can show courage throughout anything, through hard times like this as well. You just have to take things one day at a time. Do not overstress. Pay the bills that you can. Whatever you cannot pay, you need to, try to reason with the corporation or the business, or, have a payment plan set up. But of course, the necessities such as your rent, your mortgage, I would say, and your phone, that's first and foremost. Of course, your health as well. We definitely need to support one another, especially in these times. It has been a month. We don't know how long this will go on. So please make sure you're being very realistic about your spending habits. And thank goodness for these food pantries that we have all over the country. Once again, if you have not gone into that website, please do so. And if you have an excess amount, you know what? You can freeze it, or you can give it to your other family members or your neighbor. Do not waste food. I definitely believe in that. I have always grown up, I'm a foodie anyway, so I always eat a lot I eat a lot. And when it comes to food, I never believed in wasting. I eat what I can. And when I do, of course, when I cook, which is a daily basis, I do freeze my food. And, if anything, I have excess amount, give it to my mom or give it to my siblings. But these are crucial times right now. And we have to think about one another and surviving without stress. So thank you all for watching. Please leave your comment below regarding this crisis that we're in right now. And thank you so much for your support. And please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Stay safe wherever you are.